Hey guys, I'm Sanchit. I work for a company called Adyen. It's a fintech company, and I'm based out of Amsterdam. Thank you, David, for inviting me, and Lamoka for hosting us. I'm going to talk about improving sort of our user search experience at Adyen, and kind of walk you through that journey. Um, Elastic is used in a lot of places at Adyen, but some of the places it's used is for payment search. We have sort of a customer area for our merchants. They can kind of look up transactions and figure out what's happening on the platform. So Elastic is a kind of a core backend component for it. We also use it for monitoring. Um, there's a lot of codes. All of it throws events, when a payment happens, doesn't happen, something good, something bad. We all have to monitor that, make sure our platform is, up and running. We also use it, of course, for logging. Developers like to write a lot of logs, so we gotta collect all of it and make it searchable. Um, what I'm going to talk to you about is sort of our internal search. For the first three, there's actually a really nice YouTube video. I think if you search for keeping lights on in Adyen in YouTube, it should show up. It's another Elastic sort of event. Happened in COVID times. So I'm going to talk to you about internal search. What is it? We use it for a thing we have internally called Hub. This is the docs tooling team. The first four guys are sort of the core part of the docs tooling team. I am sort of the guy on loan who's doing this as a side project, as you can see from the pictures. So what is Hub? Hub is sort of our internal wiki sort of thing. It works off of a CMS called Grav CMS. This is kind of what the homepage looks like, and this is kind of what specific like article inside Hub looks like. Just pay attention to sort of the page layout because it'll be apparent a bit later. But we have a sidebar on the left, something on the right, and we have a menu on top, and all those sort of things are solution commercial. They also kind of have like a drop-down effect. So this is kind of the architecture on a very high level. We have Graph CMS. Our users use it to see the website. The search internal app kind of manages indexing of whatever content is on Graph CMS, and also used for the users to kind of build the search query through Elasticsearch and give them a good search result. So this is the architecture, and we kind of use it for search. So if you search for engineering monthly newsletter in our internal thing, you actually don't really get the article that you're talking about. So that's a big problem because Hub has a lot of important content. If something bad happens, someone on duty needs to look up, okay, how do I fix this? This thing is an error, blah, blah, blah. So we need to make sure that the articles that we write on Hub are searchable. Then if anyone wants to change this, the docs tooling team is a very small team, doesn't have too many developers. So updating the search algorithm, requires a developer to do it, and that actually sometimes takes a long process. And just the whole system overall isn't really scalable. So we needed a new solution, and ideally an on-premise solution because we're a fintech company and we don't really use the cloud as much. So this was our solution. We're already using Elastic in a lot of other places at the company. So I found out about Elastic Enterprise Search, and I thought I'd kind of give it a go to solve this use case. What happened is we put in Elasticsearch here, Enterprise Search, and then this is what the new architecture would look like. I would use it to sort of connect to the CMS, use its inbuilt features to crawl it, and then I could just change a little bit of code in search internal to kind of make the queries happen. What happened was, this is the web crawler. What you do is, ideally, you put in a URL and you press sort of submit, and then it runs a process, it crawls your website, and everything should be fine and dandy. However, initially, I didn't really get it to work out of the box as much. I figured that out. There are some configuration changes you need to do to make sure it can like crawl local other websites and stuff. But it didn't really work after I even got it working because, as I said before, we have a lot of content on some of the pages. They're very long, and the page format wasn't really well suited for this sort of automated scraping. So what ended up happening is made a new architecture. I took out the indexing code from Search Internal and kind of made a separate thing. And I said, okay, I know what's best potentially and how to search, our content better. So pulled it out and then I gave it a go. So what happened was I basically said, all right, let's take the page. I basically curled it, looked at, all the content, got rid of all the stuff I thought was useless or maybe less useful, and eventually pushed the document over to Elastic. And this is kind of what it looks like. I took the URL, some parts of the URL, the title, some dates. I kind of made an array out of all the heading tags, and then I was like, all right, let me just put all the content. The last thing is content. But I put it all in there. And what happened was, it was great. It worked. Everything seemed to be better. I tried it on some test queries, and it was giving better results. To get even better results, what we did was we added some synonyms, which is a great feature. Earlier, we were doing this very manually in our code. We're like, all right, all of these are kind of the same, and it was kind of difficult to pinpoint what exactly somebody was looking for. But this gives us a nice way to kind of visualize, see what's happening. And there's also an API which you can just use to kind of add synonyms to your index. We also were able to now tune the relevance of the fields in our index quite easily. So somebody who doesn't have too much technical experience could just go in the background, go to relevance tuning, say, all right, this title is currently set to 3. Maybe let's try 3.1, 3.2, see if it gives better search results. And they can kind of test it and figure out, okay, are we making it better or worse? Also, there's every now and then some case where organic search just doesn't seem to be getting what we're looking for. So in that case, you can do what is called a curated result. So you can say, all right, if anyone puts any of these queries, give this particular sort of document and give that as a search result on the top. So I think that was really useful for us. And then this is our new search. So we changed up the UI a bit as well. We added some categories because I was parsing the pages better, so I could kind of take out that content and kind of send it over to the front end, and we actually get better search results. This is sort of my team that I work for, local payment methods, but yeah. Then we did it, we solved it. We were able to search our hub effectively. Updates didn't really require too much developer intervention. We'll still need to do something every now and then, but for the most part, once it's up and running, people can kind of manage it on their own. And the new solution is scalable and it's on-premise. A little bit of a bonus, we can now write tests quite easily to our search. So I wrote some tests, and unfortunately I made the mistake of writing too many tests, and most of them don't work. So I deleted the ones that didn't work and fixed a couple, and then this is good, right? This is how we want to be, chilling. So this is kind of my last slide. So the next steps is I'm going to work on improving the indexing. I sort of initially used the generic sort of one thing for everything indexing, but there are different kind of pages on our internal CMS, and they have page templates, so we know if it's like a payment method related page, it has a particular format. So I can use that to my advantage and index things better. Also, Elasticsearch has great analytics. We're still in the process of integrating it with our front end and getting that data in, but once it's all there, we can kind of get the results about what are people querying, what are people finding, what are people not finding, and what are people clicking. So If we give them 10 search results, did they click search result number 4 or the first one, or which one did they do? And of course, keep testing. We want to make sure that they're good search results. Every time someone moves a slider on the UI, you don't really know what it did. For that particular use case that you were testing, maybe it did good, but you might have broken a lot of other things. So I think having a good test suite along with enterprise search is a good idea. Also better performance. Just as a techie thing, I want to make sure that, if all the users in our company search at the same time, it won't break or anything. We have some redundancy, but yeah, I'm going to keep testing for it and make sure everything works. That's kind of it. Thank you guys. Any questions?